স্মিতা টক্সলৈ আপোনালোকক পুনৰবাৰ স্বাগতম। আজি আমি আকৌ পুনৰ গুৱাহাটী ইউনিভাৰ্চিটি থাৰ্ড ছেমিষ্টাৰ জিঅ'গ্ৰাফী অনাৰ্ছৰ এটি মডেল বা থিয়ৰী ডিছকাছ কৰিম। আৰু আজি আমি ডিছকাছ কৰা থিয়ৰীটি হ'ল ফন থিউনেছৰ মডেল অফ এগ্ৰিকালচাৰ লোকেশ্যন। পলম নকৰাকৈ ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰোঁ বলক। জন হেনৰি ফন থিউনেন 1783 to 1850 was a German geographer and economist. He gave a model of agricultural land use in 1826, which was translated into English in 1966. Von Thunen's models of agriculture use is also called the concept of locational rent. In this model, Von Thunen explained the crop productivity and land use pattern changes when we go away from the market. The main aims of the Von Thunen model of agriculture were to explain why and how agricultural land use pattern varies when we go away from the market. It's also explained the hierarchy of agricultural crops based on profit-making capacity. First, the following basis terminology need to understand to a better understanding of the model. Crop productivity. It is measured by the ratio of agriculture output to the input of per unit agriculture areas. Crop intensity or intensive farming. At least 2 or more crops are grown a year of particular agricultural land. In these methods, the large labor of inputs such as money, fertilizer and labor are used to get a high yield per unit of agricultural land. Mixed cropping, growing 2 or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land, for example wheat gum. Hinterland, it is a isolated region that is always from the coastline or river. Isolated state, the land is completely flat having equal soil, fertility and climate and has no river or mountain. Basis assumption in the Von Thunen model. The isolated state comprises of one market area and an agricultural hinterland. The market receives goods only from the hinterland and the hinterland sells goods only to the market. The hinterland ships its surpluses to no other market except the city. There is a homogeneous physical environment including a uniform plain around the city. Farmers are settled in the hinterland who wish to maximize the profit. There is only one mode of transport, that is horse wagon is used. Transportation cost is directly proportional to distance. The higher the distance, higher the transport cost. ইয়াৰ মাজতে মই ক'বলৈ বিচাৰোঁ যে যদি ভিডিঅ'টি আপোনালোকৰ কাৰণে হেল্পফুল হয় মোক কমেণ্ট ছেকশ্যনত জনাব আৰু নেক্সট কি টপিকৰ ওপৰত আপোনালোকৰ ভিডিঅ' লাগে সেয়াও জনাব। এইটো এটা অত্যন্ত ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট থিয়ৰী হয় যিটো এক্সামত আহিয়ে থাকে। হোপফুলি আপোনালোকৰ এই থিয়ৰীটি হেল্পফুল হ'ব আৰু আশা কৰিছোঁ কনচেপ্টখিনিও আপোনালোকৰ ভালকৈ ক্লিয়াৰ হ'ব। লগতে যদি এক্সপ্লেনেশ্যন টাইপকৈ ভিডিঅ' লাগে মোক কমেণ্ট ছেকশ্যনত জনাব, মই তেনেকুৱাকৈ ভিডিঅ' বনাবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিম। গতিকে পুনৰ আমি বলক থিয়ৰীলৈ যাওঁ। He had two basic postulates: the intensity of the production of particular crop declining with the distance from the market. Here the intensity of production means the amount of input per unit area of the land. The type of land use will vary with distance from the market. Von Thunen developed an agricultural location model with two prominent parts: agricultural land use and economic rent. Economic rent is the measure of the advantage of one piece of land over another. Von Thunen also issued the formula for calculating the locational rent, which is given below. Example: LR equal Y bracket M minus C bracket close minus YTD, where LR equal locational rent per unit of land, Y equal yard per unit of land, M equal market price per unit of land, C equal production cost per unit of product, T equal transport rate per unit of distance, D equal distance from the market. Von Thunen theory of agricultural location, intensity theory, crop theory. Intensity theory: due to the rise in transportation costs, intensive cultivation is more suitable near the city center. Therefore, intensity of production of a particular crop declines with distance from the market. ইয়াৰে লগতে মই ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনি এটাচ কৰি দিছোঁ, যাৰ সহায়ত আপোনালোকে কনচেপ্টখিনি ভালকৈ বুজি পাব আৰু ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনি এক্সামত আঁকিলেতো ভালে হয়। নেক্সট আমি যাম ক্ৰপ থিয়ৰী। According to crop theory, there will be a variation in the land use with distance, and the factors responsible for the variation in the land use pattern are market price of a particular crop, transportation cost, production cost, and yield per unit of land. The crop theory of Von Thunen can be understood by taking the following two. Case 1. When two crops P and Q have the same production cost and yield but having different transport cost and market price, if P is costlier to transport and have a higher market price, the crop P will be grown closer to the market than Q due to the higher transportation cost of crop P. The location rent of P decreases more rapidly. Case 2. When two crops X and Y have the same production and transportation cost per ton or kilometer, but different market price and yield per unit of land, if X has a higher yield and lower market price than Y, it will be grown closer to the market than Y. টপিকখিনিৰ লগত আপোনালোকে ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনিলৈও মন কৰিব, নহ'লে থিয়ৰিটি এনে ডাঙৰ একো বুজি নাপাব, চব খেলি মেলি হৈ যাব। সেইটো কাৰণে ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনিৰ লগতে মই এটাচ কৰি দিছোঁ, আৰু মই বাৰে বাৰে কৈ আছোঁ ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনি যদি আপোনালোকে থিয়ৰিটিৰ লগত আঁকে, মই যেনেকৈ দিছোঁ, তেতিয়াহ'লে ফুল মাৰ্কছ পোৱাৰ চান্স থাকে। Concentric zonal ring of agricultural production. Von Thunen recognized following 6 concentric zonal ring of agricultural production. Zone 1, market, gardening and milk production, would be dedicated to cash cropping due to deficiency of food preservation facilities, primitive modes of transportation, and the highly perish nature of products. Market, gardening and milk production were most suitable in this zone. Zone 2, firewood and lumbering production. The second zone was marketed by the production of firewood due to heavy bulkiness and primitive transportation modes. Wood was comparatively costly to be shipped. It was also used as a fuel and building material. However, the outer limit of this zone was marked by wood, which was highly in demand in the market. Zone 3, grain crops with no fallow land. Unlike Zone 2, the Zone 3 was marked by food grains. Rye was the most important market product of this zone, having no fallow land. The cropping intensity of this zone was highest as compared to Zone 4 and Zone 5. Most importantly, grains would be stored, easy to transport and last longer than milk products. Also, the agricultural land would be cheaper further away from the market. Zone 4, grains crops with 4% of fallow lands. This zone was marked by 4% of fallow lands, having less crop intensity as compared to Zone 3. The farmers of this zone usually practice 7 years crop rotation, with 1 year each rotation of rye, barley and oats, 3 years rotation of pastures, and 1 year as fallow land. Zone 5, 3-field system. Like Zone 2, this zone was marked by extensive cultivation, having 33% of land as fallow. The farmers of this zone practice 3-field system, having 1/3 of land as crop field, 1/3 as pastures, and rest left for fallow land. Zone 6, livestock ranching or grazing. The market products of this zone would be of two types, namely livestock and byproducts of milk like cheese, butter, etc., which would not highly perishable. Also, the reduction in the volume of these byproducts made them cost effective in terms of transportation. লগতে আপোনালোকে ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনিলৈ মন কৰিব, ডায়াগ্ৰামখিনি মাছ ৰাখিব লাগিব ইয়াৰে, তেতিয়াহে আপোনালোকে ফুল মাৰ্কছ পাবলৈ সক্ষম হ'ব। তাৰ পিছত আমি ডিছকাছ কৰিম মডিফিকেশ্যন ইন ভন টুনেল মডেল অফ এগ্ৰিকালচাৰেল লোকেশ্যন। ভন টুনেল himself considered the potentially distorting effect of improved transportation route as navigational waterways, roads and railways on which transportation was speeder and cost only about 1/10 along waterway that on land transportation. The provision of only one market was also subsequently removed by von Thunen. The consideration of a mirror market center with its own small tributaries areas, apparently with the production of Zone 1 type, opens up the possibility of numerous towns of roughly equal importance with intermediate production zones that modified each other. The following are the modifications introduced in the classical model of von Thunen: introduction of a navigational river into his isolated state, elongation of production zones along the river, extension of Zone 2 in a narrow band. Extension of Zone 2 in a narrow band, consideration of more than one market center or minor market centers, possibility of numerous small towns of equal importance, intermixed of production zones due to numerous towns. Critical analysis or criticism. The theory of agricultural location was presented by von Thunen in the early 19th century. Since then, several scholars, including geographers, have applied it in various parts of the world and have pointed out certain aspects that are not capable in a way as pointed out by von Thunen. The main points raised by scholars regarding this theory are as follows. Number 1. Conditions described in this model, example in an isolated state, are hardly available in any region of the world. Number 2. It is not necessary that all types of farming systems as described by von Thunen is his theory exist in all the regions. In many European countries, location of types of farming in relation to the market are no longer in existence. Thunen's measures of economic rent and intensity are difficult to test because of their complexity. Number 4. Von Thunen himself has admitted that with the change in location of transportation or market center, the pattern of land use will also change. Number 5. The location of the transport link and its direction used to change the pattern of agricultural land use is depicted in figure. Number 6. Similarly, if there are two market centers, the pattern of land use will be according to figure below. ইয়াৰ মাজতে মই ক'বলৈ বিচাৰোঁ যে আমাৰ মেইন থিয়ৰী পাৰ্টখিনি ইয়াতে শেষ হৈছে। আপোনালোকে ক্ৰিটিচিজমৰ যে 6টাই লিখিব লাগিব কথা নাই, আপোনালোকে 3টা বা 4টা লিখিলেও হৈ যাব। আৰু তাৰ পিছতো মই এইখিনি বস্তু কিয় আলোচনা কৰি আছোঁ, কাৰণ ইয়াতে আমি গম পাম যে ক্ৰিটিচিজমখিনিও কিয় উত্থাপন হৈছিল। আমাৰ যদি ভালকৈ থিয়ৰীখিনি কনচেপ্টখিনি আৰু ভালকৈ ক্লিয়াৰ হৈ যায়, তাৰ কাৰণে মই এইখিনি বস্তু লগতে ডিছকাছ কৰি আছোঁ। গতিকে ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰোঁ বলক। The situation will be entirely different when there are several market centers in a region. The most important of the changes have been improvements in transportation technology. The von Thunen model is also static and deterministic. Today we know that economic growth and changes in demand will alter the spatial patterns of agricultural systems and land use, which in turn influence the rate of change. আশা থাকিলে যে ভিডিঅ'টি আপোনালোকক সহায় কৰিছে। ভিডিঅ'টি ভাল লাগিলে লাইক, শ্বেয়াৰ আৰু ছাবস্ক্ৰাইব কৰিবলৈ নাপাহৰিব স্মিতা টক্স ইউটিউব চেনেলক। ধন্যবাদ।